Clayton, and I'm a creative director and designer living here in Austin, Texas. I am the communications lead for Women in Design for Gender Equity, and we are a nationwide giving circle, and we started 1 year ago, almost a little over a year ago, and we've given away nearly $4,000 to organizations that are focused on women's health, rights, and education. It is a little more challenging having a nationwide giving circle because we don't meet in person. So we are lacking that component. However, we do have a Instagram presence, and that's at WiDGE_giving if anyone wants to check that out. And we are really focused on not only raising money for these organizations, but just general awareness. I feel as designers, we are gifted with the ability to communicate. And so whether or not we are, actually raising dollars or raising awareness, I think that our strength is more in the ability to do both cohesively and effectively. And we've also started a LinkedIn presence. So a lot of these equity issues as they affect women, an appropriate place to talk about these things is on LinkedIn. And so we've kind of worked in both directions in terms of communication and also growing our actual donation base. I would think that one of the more important things to remember about when you're using different social media platforms is that the things you're communicating on LinkedIn may not be the things you want to communicate on Instagram and vice versa. I think being very conscious of the tone of voice and the understanding of what each of the platform's benefits are is very important. I also think that being consistent, and we're not always the best at being consistent, but consistency is probably one of the top things in terms of growth and reach. Since we started, we have donated to 3 organizations, and they're all organizations that align with our mission, which is to focus on women's health, rights, and education. Our first grantee was the Blue Bench, which is an organization based in Denver, Colorado that works with survivors of sexual assault. And additionally, they have programs that work to diminish the impact that sexual assault has on the community and the survivors. They also have a prevention and advocacy component of those programs as well. So they do really great work, and we just awarded Texas Women in Business on June 7th, this last week. And they are a membership-driven nonprofit that focuses on elevating women in business through networking, education, luncheons. They have a grant program that awards nonprofits who primarily serve to empower girls and women. So I'm very, very proud to say that they were our grantee this last cycle. And it should be said that the Texas Women in Business grant program is very strong about not aligning with things that are religious or political, just so that it remains a safe place for all women to gather. Our focus this last giving cycle was on Texas-based nonprofits, because we believe strongly that Texas is a place where perhaps some of the equity and equality of women has eroded, especially in the last couple of years. And personally, about 2 years ago, I had a miscarriage. I was with my partner at the time, and we had to go to the emergency room. And if it would have been today, had I gone to the emergency room, I could not have received the level of medical attention and care that I received 2 years ago. And that's because more of our rights have been stripped away. More of these things that really make it hard to be a woman in Texas have become part of my reality. And so I really do believe that focusing on states that have these discrepancies is a really strong way to turn the spotlight back on women in those states and say, hey, look, these women do have a voice, they do have power, they have representation, they have support. Personally, I've always had a strong tie to a sense of justice and really wanting to see things in the world that are reflective of an equal and fair opportunity for all. And it's been really powerful to see the dollars that we raise go to actual organizations. We interview them at the end of each giving cycle and ask them, now that you've received this award, what do you intend to use it for? And, a lot of times these organizations, the two in the past, have indicated to us that our money arrived at just the right time. Really knowing that we can directly impact and help support and uplift these organizations is really so very important. So there is a gender pay gap that exists in the United States, right? And it has remained unchanged for the last 20 years. And women still earn 80 cents to the dollar for every dollar a man makes for the same work. And so if women were paid equally, we'd have over 400 billion more dollars in the economy yearly, every year. And, that's just the tip of the iceberg. I think the whole experience of starting this giving circle has made me really aware of some of the internalized misogyny that sort of exists within even my own self, and understanding how those systems really do perpetuate a cycle. And if you're not brought to the general awareness of what the issues are, you can just be a part of that cycle endlessly. And unfortunately, without the awareness component, that is what happens. 75% of all unpaid labor, and that includes things like household cleaning, cooking, taking care of kids, taking care of relatives. 75% of all of that unpaid labor is shouldered by women. And if those women were paid just the market value for this unpaid labor, that would equal almost $10 trillion per year. And so when I say equity is important, it is very important. And I think that the only reason why it's not become more of a thing in the forefront is because people are just not generally aware. They're not aware of these statistics. The one word would be empowering, for sure. Collective giving gives the individual the opportunity to put their money where their heart is. And I think that that's, you don't always get that opportunity. You can donate to a single charity, and that's great. But with a giving circle, you get to donate to a charity every month that represents the things that you really deeply care about. And hopefully, through the process of joining the giving circle, you'll also realize that there's a lot of power in just voicing who you want to vote for. Just nominating a nonprofit in itself, bringing awareness to the nonprofits, whether or not they are selected by the group or not.